There was a time when trusting a woman you are with was considered honorable, responsible, masculine. That was a time when things were more balanced. Overall, the family benefited. But note, I didn't include the word happy, as temporary happiness is often substituted for a balanced life. That time is over.
Oh no!
Not because men changed, but because the rules changed quietly, and nobody bothered to tell you.
Nope.
What you're seeing today isn't coincidence. It isn't bad luck, and it definitely isn't rare. It's a system that rewards women who lie, commit fraud, and all the other things tied to it, but on the other end, punishes men for giving same women trust.
No! God, please, no!
Funny how we often find out later that the conspiracy wasn't actually a conspiracy.
Oh my God!
For years, men were told that questioning paternity was insecure, disrespectful, unmanly. By the way, that is still happening today, but don't take my word for it. The women still say it, so you can see and hear for yourself on the Instagrams, the TikToks, and other social sites. In the meantime, behind the scenes, thousands of men were being locked into lifelong financial obligations for children that were never theirs. And if they could not pay, then they face the punishment, which can include ruined reputation, jail time, and all the things that come along with that. I say it is all just BS. It's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. And now the evidence is out in the open more and more every day. Again, check out these ladies on the Instagrams, the TikToks, and other social sites. You might be surprised to see how some behave even after being presented with the facts, proving false paternity. Paternity fraud. Call it what it is. It is interesting that in this modern society, you'll hear softer language being thrown around. Non-paternity event, misattributed parentage, paternal discrepancy. That is all for the benefit of women, not men. Those terms exist to make you more comfortable swallowing the truth. Or should I say, lie. Here's the truth. If you are led to believe a child is yours, emotionally, legally, financially, when there is deception involved, that is fraud. No amount of word polishing changes that. And with the explosion of consumer DNA testing, these discoveries are happening at scale, often accidentally, to men who were never even suspicious. You can find out more by checking out the article on the DNAPaternityTestingCenters.com website dated August 10th, 2025, where they looked deeper in the surge. The summary of it is that these are alarming numbers, especially because these discoveries are mainly by unsuspecting men. Be aware of the emotional trap. Here's how the trap works. You step up, you bond, you invest, you build memories, you become dad. Your family bonds, your parents bond, your siblings bond. Then one day, sometimes decades later, a DNA test pulls the pin on the grenade, and when it explodes, it doesn't just hit you. It hits the child, it hits the family, it rewrites reality. Some media outlets have started documenting the emotional fallout caused by surprise DNA discoveries. In my opinion, the amount of attention paid to this by same media houses is negligible, since the phenomenon didn't exist on this scale 20 years ago. In fact, think.kira.org did an article on September 10th, 2025, on this with the title, "Surprise Your Dad is Not Your Father."
What?
Now that I said it, even this title seems to be taking it too lightly. Let's look at where the system shows its teeth. The money, the Benjamins. Now let's get down to the part the courts do care about. Money. Here's what most men still don't understand. Biology does not automatically free you from responsibility. A man can prove with DNA that he is not the biological father, and still be forced to pay child support. That's not theory. That's not rumor. That's happening right now. In late 2025, a man presented undeniable DNA proof that he was not the father, and the court still ordered him to keep paying under paternity by estoppel. Estoppel in this context means legal doctrine or documentation preventing a person from going back on their word or making contradictions to the initial assertions. His only way out was to leave the country entirely. The Daily Highlight carried an article on the case on November 13th, 2025. Yes, that's the level of pressure we're talking about, which is usually wrapped in the statement, "You should have known better." And here's the insult added to the injury. After the damage is done, the system turns around and blames you. Yes, you. You should have been more diligent. You shouldn't have signed without knowing. You acted like the father. Translation: you trusted, you loved, you showed up, and that was enough to bind you. In states like Georgia, even DNA is not enough unless you meet very specific legal conditions, strict timelines, and procedural requirements. Miss one and you're locked in. You can check out the finer details by looking into the Georgia law, OCGA, section 19-7-54, that allows a man to petition and set aside paternity if DNA shows 0% probability. Again, DNA by itself is not enough. Can't overemphasize that here. Yes, there are cracks, but don't be naive. Now, to be fair, something is changing. In early 2026, a case ended with a multi-million-dollar judgment after a man proved intentional paternity fraud in civil court. He had paid support for years until DNA exposed the lie. He was the lucky one that time around. You can check out that documentary right here on YouTube by the Justice View. Those cases matter, not because they're common, but because they prove this isn't imaginary. It's fraud, and fraud can be punished, though it happens rarely. Yes, I said rarely, because that is real punishment, and not the common slap-on-the-wrist rulings. What does this mean for you? This isn't about fear. It's certainly not about being masculine or not. It's about awareness. The modern legal environment does not reward blind trust. It rewards documentation, verification, and timing. Being meticulous in such a situation is absolutely a high requirement for a man. Love does not protect you. Intentions do not protect you. Hope does not protect you. Information and the right actions do. To be clear, not having the information, or knowing, but not using it, will be of no benefit. I'm not telling you to be bitter. I'm telling you to be prepared and act accordingly. Because once the paperwork is signed, the clock runs fast, and cost is certainly counted in seconds or cents. Ask the men who are already paying or have found themselves doing time behind bars. The main point here is that it all adds up, and you won't get it back. To bring down the curtain, men need to stop learning these lessons the hard way. The era of giving women the benefit of the doubt is over. The era of verify first, commit second has already begun. Do your own research. Understand the law in your state or country. Never assume the system will correct itself later, because later is usually too late. Enough said. Remember that a strong body isn't much without a strong mind, so build both, and choose peace always, but be ready if someone chooses violence.